You've arrived at Cozy Side Audio, where dreams begin with a story. Tonight's tale is here to help you wind down and find peace. If this brings you comfort, please like, share, and subscribe so more dreamers can join us. Let the night carry you, and let's begin.
CozySideAudio presents Dead Girls Don't Dream. Episode 1, Transfer. Scene 1, Arrival. The train hisses to a halt like it's exhaling something it shouldn't be carrying. Kei Amemiya lifts her head from the window. The countryside outside is gray and soft, as if someone smudged it with their thumb. The station is small, no announcements, no passengers. Just the echo of her own heartbeat and the quiet shuffle of her shoes against the floor as she stands. The conductor doesn't speak to her when she steps off. He doesn't need to. There's only one reason anyone gets off here. A black car waits by the platform. Long, spotless, out of place in the wet gravel and wild grass. The driver bows. Kei doesn't return it. He opens the door without a word. The interior smells like pressed uniforms and lavender-scented paper. She keeps her hands folded in her lap and tries not to breathe too deeply. The school rises slowly out of the fog as they drive, a pale shape against the hill, edged in Gothic black and white. Thin towers, ivy-wrapped windows, stone paths. Yorahana Academy for Girls looks less like a school and more like something built to keep something in. Or out. Scene 2, the first step. They don't show her to the headmistress. They don't give her a tour. A second-year student in a navy skirt and precise braids meets her by the front gate. She introduces herself as Reina Hashikawa, says she's the student council president, and walks exactly 3 steps ahead the entire way to the dorm. You'll be in West Wing, room 2 to 17. With Nerus, she says, her voice tight and polite. She's very well behaved. The dorm halls are too quiet. No music, no laughter. No sound at all behind the rows of closed wooden doors. The air smells like tea and antiseptic. Kei says nothing, just trails behind her, eyes on the back of Reina's perfectly pressed collar. When they reach the room, Reina doesn't knock. She simply opens the door and announces, "This is your new roommate." A girl sits on the window ledge, legs tucked up, hair soft around her shoulders like rain-warmed silk. She turns, blinking. "Oh," she says, smiling. "You're early." Scene 3, Chika Nerus. Her name is Chika Nerus. She speaks in a voice like twilight, quiet, unhurried, a little sleepy. She offers Kei the desk by the window and doesn't ask any questions. Just smiles and unpacks a second teacup from her cabinet, as if she'd been expecting her. "You came from the city, right?" Chika asks as they sip their tea. "You don't talk like a country girl." "I don't talk much at all," Kei replies. Chika smiles again, and it's not mocking. It's not anything. It just is. Their room is almost too clean. No posters, no clutter. Everything in the drawers is folded tight, like it's afraid of being seen. "There's a welcome ceremony tomorrow morning," Chika says. "You'll need your gloves and white ribbon. I put them in the top drawer for you." Kei doesn't remember mentioning her size. She opens the drawer anyway. They're there. Waiting. Scene 4, the rules. That night, Chika recites the school rules from memory while brushing her hair. 3 petals, she says, voice rhythmic like a prayer. Obedience, silence, purity. Kei watches from her bed. They're not written anywhere. But you'll feel when you're about to break one. Chika looks over her shoulder. You'll feel it in your chest. Like water. Kei says nothing. Later, when the lights are off, she hears Chika whisper something softly into her pillow. Too soft to catch. Something that ends with a name. Scene 5, the first dream. Kei doesn't remember falling asleep. But she wakes to silence. Too much of it. The dorm is gone. The bed is gone. Her shoes are gone. She's standing barefoot in the school's hallway, but everything's too long, too narrow. The doors stretch on forever. There's no light, but she can see. A moonless glow stains the walls, just enough to cast shadows. There's no sound, but she hears something breathing. The air smells wrong, like lilies rotting in clean water. She turns around. There's a girl standing at the end of the hall. She's barefoot, her uniform wrinkled, hair loose and wet. Her skin looks too pale, like light is passing through her. She says nothing. Kei doesn't move. The girl raises one hand. Blood drips from her fingers, not much, just enough to paint her sleeve red. Then she opens her mouth. No sound comes out, but Kei feels the words crawl into her spine. Don't forget me. Scene 6, Ceremony. By morning, the dream is already retreating. Like a bruise just beneath the skin, real, but fading. The school bell doesn't ring. It sings. A long, drawn-out tone that seems to vibrate in the walls more than the air. Kei stands among the other new students in the main courtyard, all of them dressed in flawless navy uniforms, ribbons tied at the throat, white gloves on both hands. Nobody speaks. Not a whisper. Not a giggle. Not even the rustle of skirts in wind. Just rows of girls with their heads slightly bowed, as if in prayer. The headmistress stands beneath the arch of a flowering dogwood tree, reading from a thin white book. Her voice carries, but there's no microphone, no wind, nothing to interrupt. And so the first petal blooms. In obedience, you shall walk. In silence, you shall remain. In purity, you shall become. Kei's throat feels dry. Not from fear. Something else. Like a thread catching in her chest. When it ends, they all curtsy. Perfectly timed. Chika's curtsy is slightly off. No one reacts. Not even the teachers. Kei lowers her head last. And when she lifts it, she swears the girl in front of her, just for a moment, has no shadow. Scene 7, A petal wilts. Classes are strange. They study things like applied manners and dormitory history. There's an actual lecture called the Ceremony of Stillness. No math. No science. No art. Kei doesn't ask questions. But she listens hard. Every time a teacher glances her way, their smile is too tight. Their eyes flicker like they're checking for something. Like they're expecting her to crack. At lunch, she sits across from Chika under the arbor behind the greenhouse. Do you like it here? Kei asks. Chika bites into a red apple. Her eyes stay on the middle distance. You'll get used to it. That's not what I asked. I know. Chika chews. Swallows. Her expression doesn't change, but she starts picking at the hem of her sleeve. Some girls try to fight it. The rules, I mean. And they disappear. Kei looks at her. They transfer out? Chika doesn't answer. But behind her, one of the courtyard statues has changed. A girl in a school uniform, holding a rose, eyes closed. Scene 8, Hall Pass. Later that day, Kei wanders too far during study break. She turns a corner behind the third library stack, following a draft of cold air, and ends up in a part of the school that smells wrong. It's too quiet, too dustless. The walls are painted the same sterile white, but something's off. The windows are fake. The paintings are old. There's one of a girl in the same uniform, only it's the wrong color, gray skirt, long braid, white gloves stained with ink. Kei steps closer to inspect it. But behind her, a voice says, "You're not supposed to be here." She turns. The girl standing there is younger than her. Maybe first year. She looks terrified. "Go back," the girl says. "Right now. Before they notice." "Who's they?" Kei asks. But the girl is already backing away. Her mouth opens like she's going to say something else, then she flinches hard, like something invisible yanked her backward. She's gone before she hits the floor. Just gone. Scene 9, Second Dream. That night, Kei tries not to sleep. She even bites her own palm once, hard enough to raise a welt. It doesn't matter. The dream takes her anyway. This time, she's back in the dorm, but it's empty. The lights are flickering, her bed is made, the teacups are shattered on the floor. And the mirror above Chika's desk is black. Not blank. Not dark. Black. like looking into a hole where reflection should be. Then a knock. She turns. At the door is the same girl. Pale. Blood still on her sleeve. Only this time, she isn't silent. She opens her mouth and says, "You almost remembered me today." Scene 10, the name. Kei wakes before dawn, drenched in cold sweat, hand still clenched. She opens her palm. A name is scratched into the skin of her glove, too small to see unless you're looking. She peels it off slowly. One word. Emmy. No last name. No explanation. Just that. She puts the glove back on. She doesn't tell Chika. But when she glances over at her roommate, she sees that Chika is already awake, staring at the ceiling. "I used to talk in my sleep," Chika whispers. "They told me I said a name I shouldn't know." Kei doesn't answer. They lie in silence. The sun never quite rises. Episode 2, Things Left Unsaid. Scene 1, a name without a face. Kei traces the name into her notebook margins during breakfast. Emmy. She doesn't remember writing it. The glove had it. The dream spoke it. Now her fingers follow it compulsively, again and again, down the side of her notes on virtuous speech and the threefold gaze. Chika watches, but doesn't comment. She rarely does when it's early. Something about morning light makes her quieter, more transparent. Kei glances across the dining hall, every girl in identical navy uniforms, eating with perfect posture, eyes lowered. The scrape of silverware is synchronized. No one talks. They don't even look up. But for just a second, she sees someone looking. Across the room, seated at the far end of one of the long tables, is a girl with dark, heavy bangs. Not a face Kei recognizes. Not one she's seen in class. The girl stares straight at her, unsmiling. Then, as if flicked by a switch, the girl vanishes. Gone. The seat is empty. The girls beside it don't notice. They just keep chewing. Kei stops drawing the name. Scene 2, a hidden page. Later, in the library's north wing, Kei searches the yearbooks. The school keeps detailed records. Each year, a new edition, class photos, dorm assignments, faculty rosters, even an honor roll etched in gold. She flips through the volume for last spring. Class 2B, 15 girls. Chika's face is there. So is Reina's. But there's something off. The photo in the bottom row, third from the right, it's blurred. Not printing error blurred. Just smudged. Face erased. Nameplate blank. But someone's hand is still visible on the edge of the frame. White glove. Wrist length. Slight ink stain near the hem. Kei turns the page. There's a blank space where the next section should be. An entire spread cut out. Rough edges, as if someone used a blade. She glances around. The librarian isn't there. No one is. Only her and the sound of a clock ticking with too many hands. Scene 3, Ritual Cleanse. Before the third period, a teacher appears in the hallway with a silver bowl. All students must wash their hands in it. A weekly ritual. Kei hesitates. The bowl is filled with a clear liquid that smells like bleach and chrysanthemums. Reina stands beside the teacher, holding out a small towel. It's not optional, she says. Kei dips her fingers in. The liquid stings. Her glove begins to dissolve, not melt, exactly, but unravel. Fibers floating away like ash in water. Underneath, the name Emmy is gone. She clenches her hand before Reina sees. But Reina is already looking at her oddly. You're adapting quickly, she says. Kei says nothing. She takes the towel, dries her hands, walks away. Scene 4, Ghost Stories. That night, Chika pulls her mattress closer to the window. She doesn't say why. Kei watches her move, slow and delicate, like a shadow practicing being real. Have you ever heard of the girl in the dream? Kei asks, not bothering to ease into it. Chika doesn't look surprised. She tugs her blanket tighter. Some girls dream of her their first week. Others never do. But they know about her. No one talks about her. You just did. Silence. Then Chika says, almost too softly. She was here last year. Kei doesn't breathe. She died? I didn't say that. Then what happened to her? Chika shakes her head. Things that get erased leave gaps. And if you stare into the gap too long, something stares back. Scene 5, Midnight Rules. At 12:03 a.m., Kei wakes to the sound of whispering in the hallway. She shouldn't open the door, but she does. Outside, 5 girls in long nightgowns are walking in a circle, each holding a mirror. Their reflections don't move in sync. One of them, her reflection, is smiling. Too widely. Too still. Reina stands in the center, hands clasped. Repeat the vow, she says. The others speak in unison. We reject the girl who once was. We erase the face that lingered. We cast out memory, so we may remain pure. Kei watches from the crack in the doorway. The girl holding the cracked mirror starts to cry. Reina's gaze sharpens. Then the mirror in the girl's hand shatters. Glass cuts through her fingers. Red lines down her wrist. She doesn't scream. None of them react. They begin again. We reject the girl. Kei shuts the door. She doesn't sleep again. Scene 6, A Forbidden Drawer. The next day, Kei skips lunch. She returns to the library. North Wing again. No one follows her. But it still feels like someone's watching. She walks past the archive shelves to the locked glass case at the back. Inside are artifacts, old editions of the dorm registry, ceremonial guides, a collection of confiscated unorthodox texts. Most are faded beyond legibility. But one looks new. A slim, leather-bound journal, tied shut with silver thread. No label. No author. No call number. The lock on the case isn't complicated. Kei picks it. There's no ceremony to it. Just a simple click, and the door swings open with a whisper of stale air. She takes the journal, tucks it inside her uniform, and closes the case again. As she turns to leave, her reflection in the glass moves a moment too late. Scene 7, The Journal. Back in the dorm, Kei reads under her blanket with a flashlight. The journal is filled with tight, spidery handwriting. Entire entries are crossed out violently, but others are intact. Some are lucid. Some aren't. I am not supposed to have this. They took my first journal. Hid it. Burned it? I don't know. But if I forget myself again, I need to read this. I need to remember. My name is Emi Tsukino. Kei's breath catches. There was a game we played in mirrors. Just girls being girls, they said. It was her idea. Reina's. We said the words. Nothing happened at first. Then I saw myself blink when I didn't. And I haven't slept since. The last few pages are scribbled in circles, over and over. I saw me, I saw me, I saw me, I saw me. Kei puts the journal down. Her fingers are shaking. Under her blanket, the flashlight flickers. Just once. And then the whisper, you're closer now. Scene 8, Break Pattern. Breakfast is worse than usual. Kei sits beside Chika in silence, going through the motions. Every girl is smiling faintly. Every movement mechanical. It's like they're in a loop and no one wants to admit it. Reina approaches their table. Kei straightens automatically. Reina holds out a folded paper. You're being summoned, she says. Kei doesn't reach for it. By who? Reina's smile is empty. You'll see. The paper smells like dried roses and toner ink. Inside, the words. Headmistress Igarashi requests your presence. Sanctum Hall, 3rd bell. Chika leans in after Reina leaves. That's not normal. Kei doesn't answer. Because she already knows that. Scene 9, The Sanctum. Sanctum Hall is on the east wing, past the mirrored corridor no one uses. The floor changes there, marble tiles etched with names. Kei doesn't recognize any of them. The door to the sanctum is open, just slightly. She knocks. Enter, a voice says. The headmistress sits behind an obsidian desk. Her hair is pinned into a perfect twist. Her glasses reflect nothing. Kei steps inside, closes the door behind her. "You've been dreaming," the headmistress says. Kei says nothing. "That's not a question," the woman continues. "But I do wonder if you know why." Kei swallows. "Because I wasn't here last year." The headmistress leans forward. "Some dreams belong only to those who've been marked. You are new, unweathered. So why do I see her? Perhaps she chose you." Silence stretches. Finally, the headmistress says, "You may go. And I suggest you forget." Kei doesn't move. "What happens if I don't?" The headmistress gives the smallest smile. "Then she'll come back." Scene 10, Mirror Game. That night, Kei finds a cracked mirror under her bed. She doesn't know who put it there, but it wasn't there before. She pulls it out, rests it against the floor, watches her reflection ripple faintly. The dorm is quiet. Chika's asleep. The windows are closed. Kei kneels in front of the mirror and whispers, "Emi Tsukino." At first, nothing happens. Then the mirror darkens. Her reflection remains, but the eyes are wrong. Too wide. No blink. She speaks again, "Why me?" The reflection tilts its head, slowly, like it's listening underwater. Then it speaks, but the voice is not hers. "Because I couldn't leave." The mirror shatters. Kei gasps. The sound doesn't wake Chika. The pieces cut into Kei's palms. Thin lines of red. She wraps them in a handkerchief. Sits awake until morning. Episode 3, The Hollow Period. Scene 1, The Blank Slot. The timetable for Tuesday is missing a class. Kei notices it during morning assembly. She compares her schedule with Chika's. There's a strange half-hour gap between periods 4 and 5, printed in pale gray. Room B108. Mandatory attendance. No subject name. No teacher listed. Just a time and a room. "Was this always here?" she whispers. Chika folds her paper shut too quickly. "Don't ask questions." "Why?" "Because we're not supposed to remember it." Kei frowns. "Then how do you know that?" But Chika just looks away. Scene 2, Room B108. The room is underground. Concrete walls. Harsh fluorescent lighting. A single chair in the center facing a black chalkboard with nothing written on it. One security camera in the upper corner, its red light blinking slowly. 7 students are led inside in total: Kei, Chika, Reina, and 4 others she doesn't recognize well. The rest file in like they've done this before. Reina stands still in the doorway, waiting for the door to close behind her. Then, without prompting, she walks to the board and writes a name in perfect cursive. "Emi Tsukino." Kei's lungs tighten. The chalk makes a dry, rasping sound. Then Reina underlines it once. Hard. Dust falls to the floor. She turns to face the group. "We remember what must not be remembered. We grieve what must not be mourned. We erase what has not yet faded." The other girls recite it with her. Kei doesn't. Reina glares at her but doesn't speak. Instead, she erases the name in 3 motions, not just the letters. The space itself disappears. The chalkboard swallows it whole. Kei stares at the blank slate. A faint buzzing fills her ears. Like a tone too low to hear properly. Someone behind her whispers, "She always comes after this." Scene 3, A Crack Between Hours. Time after that doesn't work properly. Kei climbs the stairs and finds it's still 4th period. The sky outside hasn't moved. Neither has the minute hand on her watch. She returns to class, but nothing the teacher says makes sense. The words come out in perfect syntax, but no meaning follows. Chika keeps her head down the whole time. Kei tries to raise her hand. Her voice catches. Her throat won't open. Scene 4, The Dream Room. She wakes inside a memory that isn't hers. The walls are warped like wax. The ceiling fans spin counterclockwise. There's a smell like old paper and ammonia. It's night, but not her night. Everything is tinted green, like the light from an aquarium. A desk sits in the center of the room. School issue. A single journal lies open on its surface. Kei walks to it, even though her legs feel like they're moving through syrup. She looks down. It's Emmy's handwriting again. But this time, the ink is fresh. The hollow period is where they file us away, not kill. Just shelve. You can still think while you're shelved, but no one will believe you exist. The page curls in her hand. Footsteps echo behind her. She turns. But Emmy's already there, floating just above the floor. Hair drifting. Eyes blink. And she speaks directly this time. Not from a mirror. Not from the dark. From her own mouth. You have to pull me out. Kei steps back. What do you mean? Emmy flickers, her voice doubling. I'm not the only one. They're all still in here. Then her face shifts. The corners melt. Her mouth widens too far. Before they forget you too. The walls crack. Light spills in like fluid. Kei screams, except she's not sure it's her scream. Scene 5, interrupted silence. Kei wakes in bed, gasping. Chika is sitting on the floor, facing the window. She's holding a music box. It's closed. But Kei can hear the tune. Something classical, but off-tempo. Slowing. You saw her again, Chika says without turning around. Kei nods. She's getting clearer. Kei stares at her hands. No blood. No glass cuts. But she swears she still feels the edges. She said the others are still in there. Chika turns her head. Her eyes are rimmed red. They are. Silence. Then Kei asks the question no one has yet answered. What happened last year? Chika looks at her. Then away. We stopped dreaming. That's what happened. Scene 6. What lies beneath. After midnight, Kei returns to room B108. It's locked now. Of course. But she isn't alone. Reina is already there, standing at the end of the hallway, her hair unbraided for once. You're not supposed to be here, she says. You wrote her name. Reina's jaw clenches. We always write her name. That's part of the vow. Why do it if you want us to forget? Reina steps closer, voice low. Because forgetting doesn't happen all at once. It has to be maintained. Reinforced. Like polishing glass until it stops reflecting. Did you love her? The question comes out before Kei can stop it. Reina freezes. Then says, we're not allowed to answer questions like that. She turns to leave. But before she does, she says, don't stay awake too long. Why? Because that's when the dream room notices. Scene 7. The first unmemory. Wednesday. Kei opens her locker and finds a book that doesn't belong to her. A pale blue volume titled Introductory Ethics of Dream Architecture. No author. No publisher. The school stamp is printed on the spine. She flips through it. The pages are all blank until page 47. One sentence in small block letters. There is a space between forgetting and remembering. That is where the erasure lies. She stares at it for a long time, not blinking. Her head aches. She puts the book back. 10 minutes later, when she opens the locker again, the book is gone. So is the pain. So is the memory. Or so she thinks. Later, at lunch, Chika asks if she's feeling better. Kei stares back blankly. What do you mean? Chika's face stills. You said you had a migraine. Just before ethics. We don't have ethics. Chika looks away. I guess not. Scene 8. A name not meant to be heard. That night, Kei goes back to her old dream journal, the one she was told to stop writing in. She flips through it. Pages are ripped out. Others are filled with crossed-out words and bleeding ink. She doesn't remember doing this. But on the final page, a new entry has appeared in handwriting that's not hers. It reads, do you want to remember me or erase me? Kei touches the page. Ink spreads under her fingertip. The world shifts. She's not in bed anymore. Scene 9. The dream room changes. This time, she's not alone when it begins. Chika is with her. But she doesn't know she's there. Her eyes are glazed, lips moving in a soundless murmur. Other girls float in and out of focus. Transparent silhouettes, uniforms fluttering in non-existent wind. The dream room is different now. Less like a classroom, more like a shrine. Paper talismans hang from the ceiling. All of them have names written on them. Most are blurred, but one is sharp. Emi Tsukino. Kei reaches up to touch it. And suddenly the air ruptures. A scream erupts from the wall. The surface splits like skin. Bloodless, but raw. Something crawls through. It wears Emi's face, but it's not her. Its mouth stretches inhumanly wide. Its hands end in delicate fingers with torn nails. Its eyes are milk white, except for the irises, which glow like candle flames. It opens its mouth. And instead of sound, the lights go out. Scene 10. Static rewind. Kei wakes on the common room couch. It's morning. Chika is brushing her hair in front of the mirror. She turns as Kei sits up, eyes red. "You passed out," she says. "In the courtyard." "No, I was in the dream room." "You're not supposed to go there alone." "I didn't mean to. But something's wrong with the air." Kei smells smoke, but there's nothing burning. She looks out the window and sees students walking backwards across the lawn. A crow flies past in reverse. When she blinks, it all reverts. Normal sky, normal wind, normal sounds. But her reflection still moves 3 seconds out of sync. Scene 11. Hidden in the library. That afternoon, Kei finds an archive room hidden behind the second-floor library. The door's marked private, maintenance staff only, but the lock is broken. Inside, it's dim and cold. A dozen old yearbooks line the back shelf. She grabs the one from the previous year. Flips to Class 2B. Finds the student photos. Names. Clubs. Awards. No Emmy. But there's a page where her name should be. The bottom edge is torn unevenly, like it was ripped in haste. Kei flips it over and gasps. Someone wrote on the back. A single sentence in smudged pencil. "If you can see this, you are already too late." Scene 12. Conversations never had. Kei tries to confront Reina after class, but she's gone. Vanished before the bell even rings. She asks around. The other students look confused. "What do you mean, Reina?" one of them says. "We don't have a Reina in our class." Another girl nods. She graduated last year. No one seems to remember her. No photos. No desk. No record. But just yesterday, she stood in the hallway telling Kei not to dream too long. Chika confirms it with a whisper. That's how it starts. One by one. The forgetting? No. The removal. Kei stares at her. "Why are you still here?" Chika doesn't answer. Scene 13. A small, bleeding corner of truth. That night, Kei returns to her dorm and finds a letter under her pillow. The envelope is unsealed. Inside, a Polaroid of a girl standing at the edge of the greenhouse, hands clasped in front of her. Black hair. Uniform too big for her. Kei flips it over. No date. Just 3 words, written in shaky script. This is Emmy. The photo begins to turn dark around the edges, like it's burning without heat. She drops it. By morning, it's gone. Scene 14. End of the hollow period. The school announces that next week's schedules will change. All hollow periods are being reviewed. No one reacts. No one even seems to hear it. At dinner, the girls talk about test prep and seasonal club rotation. Kei doesn't speak. She turns her spoon over and over in her hand. Watches the reflection. Tries to see if her face is delayed again. It isn't. But when she looks across the table, she sees Emmy. Sitting in the seat between 2 first years, expression blank, not breathing. Her eyes meet Kei's. And for the first time, Emmy mouths something. "Help me." Then she vanishes. The others don't notice she was there at all. Episode 4. Ritual Cleanse. Scene 1. The smell of soap and smoke. Kei wakes to the sound of bells. Not alarm bells, but small ones, silver chimes strung outside her window, tinkling in a wind that doesn't touch the trees. The dorm hallway smells like citrus and ammonia. Students scrub floors in silence, buckets steaming beside them. Chika hands Kei a brush and whispers, "It's ritual cleanse week. Just do it. Don't ask." Kei crouches and begins to scrub. The floor doesn't look dirty, but the water turns gray anyway. Her knees ache. Every few minutes, a teacher walks by with a clipboard, marking something in red. At the base of the stairs, a white mark is painted on the floor. Kei scrubs near it. "Don't touch that," says one girl. She doesn't look up. "That's a memory anchor." Kei blinks. "A what?" No response. The girl keeps scrubbing. Scene 2. Quiet hallways, louder walls. During lunch, the school plays music through the intercom, a soft, looping piano melody. It's slightly out of tune. Kei hears whispering under it. She looks up. No one else reacts. A slip of paper falls from her tray as she dumps it. She doesn't remember writing on it, but it's in her handwriting. "If you see the third girl again, do not follow her." She crumples it. Keeps walking. Scene 3. The greenhouse door. That afternoon, the girls are told to clean the unused East Wing. "East Wing?" Kei asks. "I thought that part of the school was closed." "It is," Chika says. "But not this week." They enter. Dust everywhere. Furniture draped in sheets. A crucifix-shaped light fixture dangles from the ceiling, slowly turning. In the back, behind a locked glass panel, is the greenhouse. Kei steps closer. Something moves inside. A shadow, small and slow. Chika pulls her away. "Don't. That's where Emmy used to sit." Kei jerks. "You remember her?" Chika's face stiffens. "No, that's just what I heard." Scene 4. Second dream, second mouth. That night, Kei dreams again. She's in the shower stall. Water runs black. The tile is covered in girls' names. Some scratched in with fingernails. Some burned into the grout. She sees her name. And under it, Kei Amemiya. Fourth day. Volunteer. She scrubs at it with a towel. It won't come off. Behind her, Emmy stands. She opens her mouth to speak, but no sound comes out. Instead, her neck splits open like a second mouth, horizontal, lined with perfect white teeth. Kei screams herself awake. Scene 5. Mirror session. Students are lined up in the hallway the next day. One by one, they enter the counseling room. Inside, a teacher dressed in black sits in front of a full-length mirror. A candle burns beside them. Chika returns pale and shaking. Kei goes in. The teacher doesn't speak, only points. Kei sits, looks into the mirror. For a moment, it reflects her normally. Then the background begins to melt. Her face peels in reverse. Her eyes roll back. Another girl's face replaces hers for a blink, then it's gone. The teacher puts a mark on her forehead with wax. Cleansed, they say. Next. Scene 6. Another forgotten. After dinner, a girl doesn't return to her room. Her name was Yui. Quiet, liked to read. No one talks about it. Kei goes to the dorm list posted on the bulletin. Yui's name is gone. Scene 7. In the Garden of Names. Kei sneaks out after lights out. She returns to the East Wing, this time finding the greenhouse door unlocked. Inside, the plants are overgrown. Tangled vines snake across broken tiles. In the back, a bench. A school bag. Dusty, but untouched. Inside the bag, a notebook. It's Emmy's journal. First page reads, "They told me I was chosen, but the dreams got louder. The rituals didn't help. The third mouth is almost open." Kei closes it slowly. Behind her, a voice breathes. "Do you remember now?" Episode 5. The Third Mouth. Scene 1. Dawn and the smell of salt. Kei wakes before the bells. She lies there for a while, watching the ceiling. Pale cracks run across it like veins beneath ice. Something in her body feels different, not pain exactly, but an echo of weight, like a bruise forming behind her ribs. When she stands and stretches, she tastes salt on her tongue. She hasn't cried. But the pillow is wet. Scene 2. Something is missing. In the courtyard, Kei counts the dorm windows again. There were 23. Now there are 22. She looks twice. 3 times. It's not just that the room is empty. The wall is completely seamless. No window, no brick outline, nothing. As if the missing room had never existed. When she mentions it to Chika, the girl gives her a long, tired look. That's not funny. Kei doesn't insist. Scene 3. The journal, page 2. Kei hides Emmy's journal under her mattress. At lunch, she flips through it slowly, careful not to wrinkle the pages. Day 5. It starts with sounds in the drains. A girl crying. A voice humming in the pipes. The third mouth wants out. I dreamed my own hands tried to pull it open. Day 6. They made me volunteer. I smiled. I bowed. I wanted to die. Day 7. They put me in the black corridor. The mirror showed my insides. Kei hears humming. She looks up. A girl across the dining hall is staring at her, mouthing something. Then she picks up her tray and walks out. Scene 4. The black corridor. It isn't on the map, but Kei finds it. A back stairwell behind the art supply closet, leading downward with cold metal steps and damp walls. Light bulbs overhead flicker, but never go out. She follows it until it dead ends at a heavy door. Carved in chalk is a single phrase. I opened it. Kei puts her palm to the wood. She hears breathing from the other side. Scene 5. Dream. Prayer teeth. That night, Kei dreams of a chapel. Inside, the pews are full of girls with blank faces, their mouths sewn shut with black thread. A priest with no eyes lifts a candle and says, "Whose mouth will we open next?" The flame moves to her. She tries to speak, but thread wraps around her lips, burning hot. Her jaw splits sideways. A third mouth opens just below her collarbone, slick and wet and grinning. From it, a voice whispers, "You're next." Scene 6. The girl in the hall. Kei sees her again. Not Emmy. The third girl. The one with long black hair and uneven footsteps. The one who hums the same 4 notes over and over, like a lullaby without words. This time, she doesn't run. She follows. Down a quiet hallway. Through a classroom. Into a janitor's closet. The girl vanishes. But on the wall, written in red marker, is a diagram of a human head. There are 3 mouths drawn. One where it belongs. One in the chest. And one on the back of the neck. Underneath, when all 3 mouths speak, the school will forget itself. Scene 7. Blood in the sink. Chika finds Kei scrubbing her hands raw in the bathroom sink. I keep tasting metal, Kei says. Even when I haven't eaten. Even when I'm not dreaming. Chika doesn't ask questions anymore. She wets a towel, presses it to Kei's hands. We just have to last, she whispers. Just make it through ritual week. Then it stops. But she doesn't sound sure. Scene 8. The mouth opens. That night, Kei dreams again. She's back in the mirror room, alone this time. The mirror flickers. Her reflection begins to move on its own. First a tilt of the head, then a widening of the mouth. Her mirror self grins with too many teeth. Then opens a second mouth in her chest. Then a third, gaping wide at the base of the neck. All 3 mouths speak at once. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Kei screams. She wakes up biting her own arm. Blood on her sheets. Episode 6. Teeth That Remember. Scene 1. The tasting room. Ritual week begins. Monday starts with blood. Each first-year girl is summoned one by one into the chapel annex. The door is locked behind them. No one speaks of what happens inside, but they emerge with pale faces and trembling fingers. Kei is the 7th. The room is lined with bottles. Amber glass, no labels. A nun with milky eyes hands her a spoon. Take. Taste. Swallow. Remember. The liquid tastes like iron and burnt leaves. The floor spins. Her ears ring. Somewhere in the walls, she hears a chorus of girls humming. Later, she vomits in the sink. and one of her molars comes loose. Scene 2, Emi's note. Beneath her mattress, Emi's journal has a new page. If you lose too many teeth, you forget who you were. They say it's symbolic. But mine didn't grow back. If you see the girl with the lacquer box, don't let her open it. That's where she keeps her face. Kei runs her tongue across her teeth. Another one feels loose. Scene 3, Chika's turn. Chika returns from the annex with blood on her collar. She won't talk. She curls up under her blanket, shaking. That night, she dreams she's standing in front of a mirror, holding her own jaw in both hands. Kei wakes her up. They don't sleep again. Scene 4, Classroom echoes. During Tuesday's lesson on classical literature, the teacher reads a poem. I dug a grave with my mouth and filled it with names I couldn't keep. Half the class begins to hum. Kei looks around. No one else seems to notice. Even the teacher is humming now. She grips her desk, steadying herself. The humming is the same as the dream chapel. The same as the drain pipes. The same as the third mouth. Scene 5, The Lacquer Box Girl. Wednesday night. Kei wakes up to silence. Not quiet silence. Not even the creak of the building, the tick of the old radiator. Then she hears footsteps. Slow, deliberate, padded in cloth. A girl stands at the foot of her bed, cradling a small red box. Her face is blank, literally. No eyes, nose, mouth. Just smooth skin. She opens the box. Inside, a folded, perfect paper face. Pale, with faint pink cheeks and smiling lips. The girl presses it to where her face should be. Then speaks in Emi's voice. What did you forget to forget? Kei screams. The girl vanishes. But the box remains on the floor. Inside is a baby tooth. Scene 6, Dream, Choir of Hunger. In her dream, Kei is kneeling in the chapel. The pews are filled with eyeless girls, mouths wide open, singing with bleeding gums. The priest holds up a mirror, and one by one, they see their reflection and burst into flame. Kei is next. But when she looks in the mirror, it shows her as a child, laughing, mouth full of teeth. Then they begin to fall. One by one. She wakes clutching her jaw. There is blood beneath her nails. Scene 7, The Locked Wing. Thursday, she follows the humming. It leads her to the West Dormitory wing, supposedly condemned. She finds claw marks on the doors. A broken nameplate. Desks turned on their sides, symbols scratched into the chalkboard. And a note pinned to the ceiling. She swallowed her name. Kei whispers Emi's name out loud. The lights explode. Something moves behind her. She runs. Scene 8, Chika's confession. That night, Chika finally talks. She says she remembers something. There was a girl last year. I think I sat next to her. I think she gave me candy once. But I don't know her name. Kei shows her the journal. Chika reads it in silence. Then, I dreamed she had no mouth. She couldn't scream. She kept biting her fingers. And then she bit mine. Kei doesn't tell her. But one of Chika's fingers is bandaged. Scene 9, Another Tooth. Friday morning. Kei finds another tooth under her pillow. Not hers. It's too small. Too white. A child's. Next to it, a note in Emi's handwriting. If you forget too much, you stop being real. If you stop being real, you join the choir. Kei puts the tooth in her pocket. She doesn't speak all day. She's afraid her voice will sound like someone else's. Episode 7, Quiet House. Scene 1, The Disappeared. Monday morning. A girl is missing. Her name is Ayane. Or maybe it isn't. The nameplate above her door is blank. So is her bed. Her closet. Her toothbrush. Kei stares at the space where Ayane used to be. She knows that name. She spoke to her once. She remembers braids. Lavender soap. A cracked fingernail. But Chika only blinks and says, who? No one else remembers. Even the teachers gloss over attendance. Another one, Emmy whispers that night. Her voice slides from the corner of the room. Kei asks her, "How many have gone missing?" Emmy doesn't answer. Scene 2, Dream, the quiet house. Kei is barefoot. The hallway is carpeted in red. Every door she passes is open, revealing rooms filled with girls who aren't breathing. Not dead, just paused, like mannequins mid-thought. A girl with long, wet hair guides her by the hand. They come to a door marked with teeth. "This is the quiet house," the girl says. Inside, a room with no sound. Not silence, absence. Kei's heartbeat vanishes. Her footsteps disappear. Her own breathing is inaudible. The wet-haired girl opens her mouth wide. No tongue. No teeth. Just a deep, dark hole. A low hum starts to build from inside her. Kei tries to run. Scene 3, The Nun with the Bone Rosary. Tuesday. Rain taps the windows. The dorm halls smell of mildew. Kei is summoned to the headmistress's office. Instead, a blind nun with a rosary made of finger bones waits. She asks Kei to pray. "What for?" "For the lost," the nun says. She lights a black candle. The flame bends sideways. Behind her, on the wall, hangs a framed photo. It shows a class from 3 years ago. One of the girls has her face scratched out with a nail. Kei recognizes Emmy's uniform. Scene 4, Chika and the list. That evening, Chika hands Kei a scrap of paper. It has 9 names. Girls I remember, but no one else does. I think. Some of them might be dreams. Kei adds "I" to the bottom, then sees a 10th name already written. Kei Amemiya. Chika swears she didn't write it. Scene 5, Dream, Laughter Room. Kei is strapped to a wooden chair. A girl with her face sewn shut giggles as she paints Kei's arms with names. "You don't know which one is yours," she sings. "That's the trick. That's how they take you." In the corner, Emmy sits with her knees pulled to her chest. Her mouth is stitched closed too, but her eyes are full of sorrow. Scene 6, The Laughter in the Halls. Wednesday. Kei hears it for the first time, laughter. Not joyful, not cruel, just wrong. It starts faint, like a radio too far away, then grows louder. No one reacts to it. No one even pauses. She follows the sound to the west stairwell. There's a single shoe on the landing. It's Ian's. Scene 7, Emmy's warning. That night, Kei opens the journal. There is a house under the school. The girls who vanish go there. They are still alive. Sort of, you can visit it, but you must leave before the bell. There is a map drawn in ink. It points to a hatch behind the chapel. Chika begs her not to go. Kei goes anyway. Scene 8, The Hatch. Thursday. After dusk. The hatch is rusted shut. Kei pries it open with a broken desk leg. The air below smells like rotting flowers and wet hair. She descends a spiral stairwell lit only by flickering candles. At the bottom is a door made of stitched-together desks. Painted across it, Quiet House. She pushes it open. Scene 9, Inside. No light, no sound. Just rows and rows of beds, each with a girl lying in it. Breathing slowly. Eyes open. Not blinking. Kei walks among them. Finds Ian. Touches her hand. Ian blinks. Whispers, "Don't tell them you remember me." The bell tolls. Kei runs. Scene 10, After. Back in bed. Breathless. Cold. She opens her hand. A paper face. Smiling. Not hers. It crumbles to dust. Episode 8, Thread of Silence. Scene 1, Wake without sound. Kei wakes up with dried blood at the corner of her mouth. She tries to speak. Nothing comes out. Not a croak. Not a breath. Her voice is gone. Across the room, Chika is curled under the blankets, headphones on. She doesn't notice. Kei tries to scream. Only silence answers. Scene 2, School day without words. She stumbles through morning routines like a ghost among the living. No one looks at her. Teachers skip her name. Even when she bumps into someone, they don't react. Not until the nun with the bone rosary passes her in the hall and mutters. Thread of silence finds the willing. You let it in. Kei mouths. What does that mean? The nun simply keeps walking. Scene 3. Emmy appears in the mirror. After dusk, Kei stares into the dorm bathroom mirror. She mouths her name. It doesn't feel like her name anymore. The mirror clouds with steam. Emmy appears, face pressed to the other side. Mouth stitched shut again. But something is sewn into her dress now, a red thread that runs down her sleeve, down her fingers, into the sink drain. She raises a hand and draws a letter on the fogged glass. F. Then O. Then R. Then her image snaps. The glass cracks. A splinter cuts Kei's palm. Scene 4. Library. Chika's discovery. Chika corners Kei after class. You're fading. Literally. I looked at our class photo. You're half gone. She holds up the Polaroid. Kei's face is a blur of static. Chika continues, frantic. I think this has to do with that thread. I've seen something like it in a banned book. I think it's called the Red Silence. It's what they use to erase girls permanently. She pulls a small, half-burned tome from her bag. Inside is a drawing of a girl with her mouth stitched shut, a red thread trailing from her lips to a mirror. Beneath it, when she no longer believes in her name, she vanishes completely. Scene 5. Dream. The loom. Kei dreams of an endless room filled with looms. Each one is weaving strands of red thread into a tapestry of faceless girls. Emmy is at the far end, trying to tear her image from the fabric. Kei reaches her, and their hands touch. Suddenly, the tapestry starts bleeding. Not red. Black. It spreads fast. A voice booms overhead, unmake the thread. Kei jolts awake. Scene 6. The ceremony of mending. That night, the students are summoned by bell. They gather barefoot in the chapel. The teachers call it a ceremony of mending. The nun with the bone rosary walks the aisles with a spool of red thread. Each girl receives a loop around her ring finger. Kei wants to protest, but she still has no voice. When the thread touches her skin, her head spins. Flashes, a mirror, a crying girl, teeth in a bowl. She faints. Scene 7. Awakening with a thread. Morning. Kei finds the red thread looped around her finger, tight as wire. It hurts to try pulling it off. Chika enters, out of breath, holding a pair of sewing shears. They said I wasn't allowed to bring these. Screw that. Hold still. She snips the thread. Kei screams. Her voice is back. So is the sound. The colors. Everything is sharp, painful, real. Then they both look down. The cut thread has unraveled into a black puddle, writhing like ink alive. Scene 8. Journal entry. Kei writes, I saw Emmy in the mirror again. She's scared of something bigger than the school. Something underneath the dream. I think the thread connects them all. I think the dreams are traps. She underlines. If you forget your own name, you disappear. Scene 9. Ending beat. Kei returns to the mirror. Her reflection is whole again. But something is off. The mirror. Kei raises her hand too late. Off by half a second. Kei stares. Her reflection smiles first. Fade to black. Episode 9. Echo Class. Scene 1. Morning static. Kei hears whispers before she opens her eyes. Not in her room. Not in her head. From the wall. It hums like distant radio static. She presses her ear to it, and the whispering grows sharper, like girls speaking backwards, underwater. Chika sees her and jolts upright. You hear it too? Kei nods slowly. Chika pulls something out of her pocket, a tooth. It was in my shoe this morning. I think they're warning us. Or tagging us. Scene 2. Class 2E. After homeroom, the school day changes. Kei is handed a new schedule. A new class. Room 2E. But room 2E doesn't appear on the normal class lists. The hallway leading there isn't normally open. A teacher unlocks a gate to let her in. Chika tries to follow but is stopped. Only those marked may enter, the teacher says, brushing her bone rosary. Inside room 2E, the desks are misaligned. The windows are blacked out with ink. And the girls sitting at the desks, they don't move. Not until Kei sits. Then they all turn to look at her at once. Scene 3, the echo lesson. The teacher in 2E is not listed anywhere in the directory. She wears a mourning veil. Her voice echoes like it's coming through a tunnel. Welcome to Echo class. Repeat after me. She writes on the board, you are not who you think. The other students repeat it in unison. Kei doesn't. The lights dim. The words on the chalkboard twist into red thread and fall. Scene 4, lunch in the void. Kei's lunchbox is empty. She doesn't remember packing it. She opens it anyway. A folded piece of paper lies inside. One word, run. The bell rings. But it sounds wrong, like it's ringing underwater. She looks outside. There is no outside. The windows show only static. Scene 5, detention dream. Kei falls asleep during echo class. She dreams she's in detention with all the other students of 2E. They sit in rows. Their mouths are zippered shut. The morning teacher walks between them, snipping off pieces of thread from their throats and weaving them into a black veil. When she reaches Kei, she leans close and whispers, "This is your second forgetting. There won't be a third." Scene 6, breakout. Kei wakes to find the classroom empty. A note is scratched into her desk, under the 7th tile. She pries it loose. Beneath it, a key. A rusted one. It doesn't fit any door. But it burns in her hand when she thinks of mirrors. Scene 7, confrontation with Emmy. That night, in the bathroom mirror, Emmy appears. But this time, she screams loud and clear, no stitches. Stop going to class, 2E. The mirror cracks. Kei sees her own face behind Emmy's. Her eyes are stitched. Her mouth is open, but her tongue is missing. Then Emmy is dragged away by something unseen. The glass explodes. Scene 8, journal entry. The school is rerouting me. Room 2E isn't on the map. But I think it's always been here. The students there, they're not dead. But they're not alive. Echo class is like a rehearsal. For what? The more I repeat their words, the more I forget mine. Scene 9, final image. Kei checks her class schedule before bed. It's changed again. Not room 2E. Now it reads, class 0. She blinks. It vanishes. Cut to black. Episode 10, class 0. Scene 1, black ink bell. A bell rings at midnight. Not the usual one. Lower. Older. Kei hears it in her teeth. When she opens her door, the hallway is flooded ankle-deep in black ink. None of the other girls wake. The ink flows in one direction, toward the west wing, toward a door marked with nothing but a chalk 0. She follows. Scene 2, door to nowhere. Kei places her hand on the door. It opens backward, like the hinges are wrong. Inside is not a classroom. It's an old theater. The kind with velvet seats and a rotted stage. Dust chokes the air. The curtains sway without wind. There are no lights. But a film projector clicks to life anyway. Kei sits. The reel begins. Scene 3, the film of herself. On screen, footage of Kei. Not recent. Young Kei. Kindergarten. Birthday candles. Then middle school. Then the first day at her old school. All of it grainy, flickering. Then, a frame of the dorm room. Current Kei, watching. And in the background of the footage, Emmy. Always there. Hiding in corners. Standing behind windows. Out of focus. Watching her long before they ever met. Kei recoils. The film burns. Scene 4, voice from the screen. A voice echoes from the melted screen. Do you remember the moment you stopped being real? Kei turns. No one is there. Every girl reaches it differently. For you, It was the night you lied about wanting to live. The theater tilts. The seats fall upward. Kei clutches the armrests, screams, and falls into the screen. Scene 5, the rehearsal room. She lands in a room filled with mannequins. They're dressed in her clothes, her uniforms, her pajamas. Each mannequin wears a different expression: sobbing, laughing, silent, screaming. A sign above them reads, "Choose which one will attend in your place." Kei reaches for one, but it opens its eyes. She steps back. All the mannequins turn toward her at once. Scene 6. Chika breaks in. Suddenly, a crash. Chika smashes through a mirror on the wall, clutching a flashlight. She pulls Kei out. "You weren't supposed to go in there. That's where they rehearse replacements. You keep dreaming, and they replace you with someone who won't fight back." Kei shivers. The mannequins are all still staring. One lifts its hand. Its pinky finger has the red thread. Scene 7. Dorm room recovery. Back in their room, Kei trembles in bed. Chika bandages her palms. Class 0 doesn't exist in the day schedule. It's only for dreamers. If they think you're unstable, they send you there. And you were unstable. I was too. That's how I know. Kei whispers, "What happened to your replacement?" Chika doesn't answer. But that night, Kei finds a second toothbrush in the sink. And she knows she didn't put it there. Scene 8. Journal entry. There are versions of me. Versions I don't control. They know my smile, my handwriting, my thoughts. Class 0 is a rehearsal. If you don't perform, they recast you. I think Emmy was someone's replacement once. Scene 9. Final shot. In the broken mirror, Kei sees herself asleep in bed. But her reflection is awake. Watching. Smiling. Then, a single blink. And the smile disappears. Episode 11. The Smiling Room. Scene 1. Rain that doesn't fall. Rain taps the windows, but never touches the ground. Kei stares out from her dorm room. The clouds swirl too low. Too fast. She blinks, and all the girls in the courtyard are smiling at once. Not laughing. Just frozen, perfect grins. Then they blink. Return to normal. Like nothing happened. Scene 2. Chika's warning. Chika enters with gauze, more bandages. Her hands shake. "Don't go to the South Hall." I heard singing again. The kind that comes from the smiling room. Kei asks what that is. Chika won't say. Just, if you hear it, whatever you do, don't smile back. Scene 3. Hall of Teeth. Kei explores alone. The school feels tilted, like her center of balance is off. She sees doors open and close on their own. Notes tucked into cracks. "We are rehearsing you." She turns a corner. There's a hallway with teeth. Not real ones. Carved along the ceiling. Hundreds. Gnashing gently like wind chimes. At the end, a door. Laughter behind it. Soft. Sweet. Childlike. She goes in. Scene 4. The Smiling Room. It's a wide white room with a single girl sitting in the middle. She's blindfolded. Straight-backed. Wearing a smile that doesn't fade. "Hi," the girl says, though she shouldn't know Kei's there. "I'm the original." Kei backs up. "There's always an original," the girl continues. But they don't last long once the others start smiling. Kei asks what this place is. The girl responds, "This is where they store the ones who refuse to forget." Then, she tilts her head. "Want to know something scary?" Kei nods. The girl leans close. "I think your smile isn't yours anymore." Scene 5. Return to the mirror. Kei rushes to the dorm bathroom. She wipes steam from the mirror. Looks at her reflection. It's smiling. She isn't. She forces her face neutral. The reflection keeps grinning. Then it mouths words. "Don't run." Scene 6. Emmy's intervention. That night, Emmy appears in Kei's dream. Her mouth is unstitched again, but bleeding. She presses her forehead to Kei's. "There's something inside your smile now." A flash of a stitched face. A choir of girls humming. Then a scream. Emmy burns like paper. Kei wakes with blood on her lips. Scene 7. Chica's story. In the early morning light, Chica finally explains. There's a rumor. Some of the girls that smile too long, they break. They freeze. They start copying other girls. The school locks them away in the south wing. Kei whispers, and the blindfolded girl? Chica nods. The first one. The one who remembered everything. Even her name. Scene 8. Journal entry. There are things living in our expressions. Borrowing them. The smile I wore yesterday doesn't feel like mine today. If they can wear our faces, they can wear our names. Scene 9. Final beat. That night, Kei dreams of a mirror in the rain. Her reflection pulls its mouth wide. Not smiling. Splitting. It says, "Say cheese." Kei wakes to find her own face sore. Her lips pulled into a raw, bleeding smile. Episode 12. Paper dolls. Scene 1. Cutouts. Kei finds folded paper dolls on her desk. Each one looks like her. Same haircut. Same uniform. But the faces are blank. She opens her drawer. More inside. Hundreds maybe. All with thread through their chests. One of them is smiling. The others are starting to curl in the corners. Like they're aging fast. She touches the thread of the smiling one. It twitches. Scene 2. Whisper lesson. In class, Sister Itsumi brings out a new lesson, how to speak without being heard. She calls it Whispercraft. Each student is given a blank book. Invisible ink. Write your true name, the nun instructs. Whisper it as you write. If the page remains blank, your name is not your own. Kei writes, Kei Amemiya. Nothing appears. Chica frowns at her own page. Mine either. A girl in the back row starts crying. Her book is full. Scene 3. The dollmaker's closet. Chica shows Kei a hidden supply closet behind the art room. Inside, marionettes. Paper faces. Thread. They say the dollmaker worked here, Chica whispers. She made the first copies. The first ghost skins. A shadow moves behind the hanging fabrics. They flee. Scene 4. Dream. The dollmaker herself. Kei dreams of a sewing room made of human teeth. The dollmaker has no eyes. Her fingers are scissors. She moves without walking. She holds a doll of Kei, but the mouth is stitched wrong. Too wide. This one won't hold, the dollmaker hisses. She keeps spitting her dreams out. The doll writhes. The thread unravels into a scream. Scene 5. Emmy's clue. Emmy appears in the mirror, silent. She hands Kei a paper doll with 3 cuts in its chest, then points at the closet, then disappears. Kei takes the doll. The cuts bleed ink. Scene 6. Breaking in. Late night. Kei and Chica return to the closet. This time, they go deeper. Behind the marionettes is a trapdoor. Underneath, a narrow staircase lit by oil lamps that shouldn't burn. Walls lined with dolls. Everyone labeled with a girl's name. Some names are crossed out. One reads, KIV.5. Scene 7. The voice in the thread. They hear something whispering beneath the dolls. Not language. Not words. Just sound that knows them. Chica clutches her ears. Don't answer it. That's how they pull your voice out. Kei grabs the doll labeled with her name. The thread in its chest tightens, trying to pull back. She cuts it. The sound stops. Scene 8. Journal entry. I am not version 5. I am not made of thread and paper and ink. I will not let someone else wear my voice. I don't know what version I am, but I'm still me. Scene 9. Ending beat. Kei wakes up with a doll beside her pillow. This one has her real face. It blinks, smiles, then crumples to ash. Episode 13. Names that don't burn. Scene 1. Ash remains. Kei collects the ashes of the blinking doll into a matchbox. It leaves no scent, no weight, only heat. She keeps it in her pocket. Throughout the day, she feels it vibrating. Not a tremor, a pulse, like a second heartbeat. Scene 2, the name wall. Sister Itsumi brings the class to a wall near the chapel. It's covered in names. Carved, layered, overlapping. These are the names that the school remembers, she says. They burn away the ones it doesn't. Chika finds her name. Kei does not. Try again, the nun says. Try the one you forgot. Scene 3, an old letter. Kei searches her dorm. Hidden behind the dresser, she finds an old envelope sealed with wax. Inside, a letter in her own handwriting, signed with a name she doesn't recognize. Kasani Amari. She stares at the signature. Her fingers shake. Then the letter bursts into flames. Ash lands on her skin. Letters forming on her wrist. Remember yourself. Scene 4, dream of names. Kei floats in a dream where every girl's face is covered in masks. Each mask has a name. Each name is wrong. She removes mask after mask, trying to find hers. None fit. Until she finds one with no label. It doesn't smile. It bleeds. She puts it on. The world shatters like stained glass. Scene 5, Emmy returns. Kei wakes in the mirror. She isn't in her room. She's inside the reflection. Emmy is there, mouth stitched again. But her eyes are calm. She places a hand on Kei's chest. A glowing thread emerges. Emmy whispers through the stitches. Follow the thread, but never let it name you. She vanishes. Scene 6, fire in the chapel. That night, someone tries to burn the name wall. The fire only consumes the unnamed. Girls scream. Some collapse, their eyes turning white. Kei sees one girl mouthing something over and over. That wasn't my name. That wasn't my name. Sister Itsumi is gone. The chapel door is locked from the inside. Scene 7, journal entry. They want to erase us by naming us wrong. But I saw something in the mirror. A name with no letters. A thread with no end. And I remembered the sound I used to hum. Scene 8, final beat. The thread in Kei's chest reappears that night. She pulls it. And from her mouth comes a song she's never learned. One Emmy used to hum. The ash in the matchbox pulses in rhythm. And in the silence between notes, a voice says, "You used to be her." Episode 14, Threadbound. Scene 1, the naming silence. No announcements. No bells. No footsteps in the hallway. Kei wakes to an empty dorm. Every bed made but hers. Chika is gone. The air tastes metallic. The mirror hums. On her desk, a folded paper swan, burned at the wings, inside a note. The one who remembers must forget. The one who forgets must remember. Scene 2, the thread chapel. Kei follows the humming mirror down the hall. It doesn't reflect her anymore. She ends up in the hidden chapel beneath the floorboards, but this time it's different. Thread hangs from the ceiling like vines. Some glow. Some bleed. At the altar, a doll the size of a girl. Head down, stitched mouth. Wrapped in hundreds of threads. She sees a label on its chest, Chika V.3. Scene 3, the red nun. A figure emerges from the thread canopy, a nun in crimson robes, veil shadowing her face. You cut her voice, the red nun says. Kei steps back. But she sang too early. Now her name is tangled. She touches Chika's doll. It spasms. Fix her, Kei whispers. I can't. You have to retie what was cut. Scene 4, Spindle Dream. Kei dreams of a loom made of bones. The dollmaker works beside the red nun. They do not speak. Instead, they thread girls into the loom, spinning names from their hair, winding memory into silk. Kei sees a spool with her name on it. She reaches for it. It unravels into smoke. Scene 5, Mirror Chika. Kei returns to her room. The mirror pulses. Chika is inside it. But something's wrong. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. I remember you, Chika says. But only the parts one wasn't supposed to. She touches the mirror. A thin thread ties her to Kei's hand. Don't let go, she begs. or they'll remake me again. Scene 6. Whisper Test. Kei goes back to the Whispercraft book. She writes the name again. Chika Naruse. This time, it burns into the page, then fades. She tries again, writing Chika V.1, V.2, V.3. Only one glows. She writes it one more time slower. Chika Naruse V.1. The room shudders. Scene 7. Thread unraveling. Back in the mirror, Chika begins to scream. The thread snaps. The glass spiderwebs outward. Her image flickers, then surges through the mirror like water. Chika collapses into Kei's arms, coughing up thread. Her voice is hoarse. Real. You remembered the wrong me, she whispers. But it was enough. Scene 8. Journal entry. We are more than versions. They can weave names into us, so new faces staple our dreams. But memory lives in places they can't stitch. In the song of a girl who hums even when forgotten. In a thread you refuse to let go. Scene 9. Final beat. That night, Kei opens the matchbox. The ashes are gone. In their place, a black thread. Still warm. Still beating. She winds it around her finger. Tighter. And listens. Episode 15. White fire, black thread. Scene 1. Locked in. Midnight. Kei wakes to find the dorm doors sealed shut. Not locked, sealed. Wax symbols around the hinges. Thread binding the knobs. Outside, the moon is flickering like a broken light. Her window won't open. Her breath fogs the glass. On the other side of the mirror, a girl with no eyes. She mouths something. Kei writes it down. Don't let her braid the fire. Scene 2. The firekeeper's lesson. The next morning, class is held in the courtyard. No desks. No nuns. Only one woman in white with burnt hands. She is barefoot. Her face veiled. She lights a single black candle and gestures for silence. Today, she says, you will learn how to forget without bleeding. Scene 3. The ash test. Each girl is handed a strip of paper with her name on it. They are told to fold it once for every lie they've told themselves. Kei folds hers 4 times. Then the firekeeper sets it alight with the black candle. Kei's paper won't burn. It smolders, glows white, then cracks like bone. The firekeeper nods. You're not ready to forget. Not yet. Scene 4. Chika's fray. Chika has returned, but something's changed. Her laughter has gaps. Her voice stutters like a skipped record. She doesn't remember the mirror. Or the thread. Or V.3. I think I'm better now, she says. More stitched together. Kei hugs her. But when they touch, she feels a knot under Chika's skin. A thread. Still buried. Scene 5. Emi's window. That night, Emi appears in the window. Not the mirror. The fire knows names, she says. But the thread remembers faces. She presses her palm to the glass. Leaves behind a soot print. Find the girl with the braid. Scene 6. Thread braid. Kei searches the dorm archives, yearbooks, attendance books, ceremonial photos. One girl repeats in every image. Same seat. Same braid, but never a name. Kei finds her real photo. The braid is made of thread. Black, red, white. Tied with a pin shaped like a needle. Scene 7. Fire memory. Kei returns to the firekeeper and asks about the girl. The firekeeper unravels her veil. She has no mouth. She draws a symbol in ash. 3 flames interwoven. One of them crossed out. Then she takes Kei's hand, burns the same mark into her palm. Kei doesn't scream. Scene 8. Journal entry. Some fires don't burn to destroy, some burn to cauterize. But not all scars are clean. The braid girl is still here, still tied to the same thread. If I pull it, will she come undone, or will I? Scene 9. Ending beat. That night, a new doll appears at Kei's bedside. No face, no name, but 3 threads braided tight across its chest. 1 white, 1 red, 1 black. They begin to fray. Episode 16, Unbraiding Ceremony. Scene 1, The Doll's Threads. Kei studies the doll with the braided threads across its chest. She unravels the white one first. It dissolves to ash. Then the red. Bleeds ink. When she touches the black, she hears something whisper. Not words, just breath. Scene 2, The Braid Girl's Name. Kei shows the doll to Chika. Chika recoils. She's not supposed to be unbraided. That's what binds her. That's what keeps her here. Kei presses. Do you know her name? Chika hesitates. No, but I think it starts with a sound that isn't allowed. Scene 3, Dream, The Braid Girl. Kei dreams of standing in a hallway full of girls with braided hair. All of them look like mannequins. One turns to her. Half her face is cracked porcelain. She doesn't speak. She clicks. Then lifts a pair of scissors made of fingernails. Kei wakes up before they touch her. Scene 4, The Forbidden Syllable. Sister Itsumi returns for language class. She draws a symbol on the board and immediately erases it. Some sounds are not meant to be heard, she says. They invite the wrong listener. Kei finds the same symbol carved under her desk. Scene 5, Emi in the Mirror. You can't speak her name, Emi says. But you can dream it. Kei stares at her reflection. Why does she want me to unbraid her? Emi presses her forehead to the glass. Because she's the only one who remembers everything. Scene 6, Mirror Vault. Chika shows Kei a place beneath the old chapel, a mirror vault. Rows and rows of antique mirrors covered in white cloth. Each one labeled with a girl's name. They find one with the braid girl's face. Not a name, just the 3-thread braid carved into the frame. Kei uncovers it. Her own reflection stares back, braided. Scene 7, Breaking the Braid. Kei brings the doll back to the firekeeper. What happens if I pull the last thread? The firekeeper writes on her palm. She will wake. So will her grief. Kei pulls it. The doll's chest cracks open. Ash pours out, ink, hair, teeth. Then the room shakes. Scene 8, The Wake. Every girl in the dorm wakes up screaming. The lights flicker out. Threads appear from the ceilings, hanging like veins. Kei runs to Chika's room. Chika is sobbing. Her braid is growing. Out of her scalp. Down her back. Writhing. Scene 9, Journal Entry. The braid is not decoration. It's memory. And some memories are too heavy to wear. But I unbraided her. I called her back. And now she's in the walls. Scene 10, Ending Beat. The mirror in Kei's room is cracked. Behind the glass, the braid girl, fully formed. She whispers without voice. A symbol burns itself into the mirror's surface. Not a name. A door. It begins to open. Episode 17, The Door in the Mirror. Scene 1, Open. Kei stares at the symbol burning in the mirror. It pulses faintly, like a heartbeat. She touches the glass. Her hand sinks through. Cold, not wet. Like dipping into breath held too long. She steps through. Scene 2, Mirror School. The world on the other side is the same school, but reversed. Windows lead to brick. Desks face the wrong way. Books are unreadable. And there are no students. Only dolls. They sit in class unmoving. Thread through their limbs. Eyes painted open. Kei walks past them, hearing a faint dragging behind her. Scene 3, The Braid Girl Speaks. At the end of the hall, the braid girl stands. No longer cracked. Her braid is coiled around her throat like a leash. She doesn't speak with her mouth. She speaks through the walls. I was the first who remembered. They turned me inside out. You let me out. Now I show you what you forgot. Scene 4, Mirror Versions. Kei sees herself walking down the hallway, but it's not her. This version has black eyes. No voice. She opens her mouth and thread spills out. Dozens more like her, each one just a little wrong. Kei runs. Scene 5, Dream, Birthday Party. A sudden shift. Kei is sitting at a long table, tea party, paper hats. Every girl is singing happy birthday, but they all have her face. The cake is made of broken mirrors. The candles are teeth. The braid girl sits at the head of the table. Her smile is bleeding. Blow them out, Kei, before they blow you in. Scene 6. Chika's warning. A knock wakes her. Chika is outside her door, pale and shaking. You didn't really go through it, did you? The mirror door. Kei nods. Chika grips her arms. Then you need to be careful. That place doesn't give you dreams, it takes them. Scene 7. Firekeeper's circle. Kei returns to the firekeeper. She lights a circle of candles and places thread in each flame. The threads smoke different colors: white, red, black. The firekeeper draws. Only the braided ones remember. Only the remembered ones bleed. She shows Kei her own name, then crosses it out. Kei, why did you do that? The firekeeper. To see if you'd still exist. Scene 8. The choir of unnamed. In chapel, the nuns sing, but their mouths don't move. The sound comes from the walls. Kei looks up. Above the rafters, girls with no faces, stitched to the ceiling like puppets. One has a braid. Her fingers twitch toward Kei. She mouths something. Kei reads the shape of her lips. Emmy. Scene 9. Journal entry. I went through the mirror. Not a reflection, not a dream. A memory that someone else left burning. The braid girl remembers everything, including what we were before we were girls, including what Emmy was before she died. Scene 10. Ending beat. That night, Kei looks into her mirror. She sees Emmy standing behind her. But when she turns, no one is there. She looks again. Now Emmy is closer. Whispering, "You didn't come back alone." Episode 18. Where the Dead Girls Go. Scene 1. Sister Field. It's raining again. Not water, but ash. Kei walks alone down the west slope, past the chapel ruins, where the grass grows in symmetrical lines, like something buried beneath it wanted the soil to remember its shape. The field has a name, whispered by the older girls when they think the nuns aren't listening. Sister Field. They say it's where the academy buries students who don't pass through properly. Girls who go missing. Girls who wake up wrong. Girls who say too much. Kei doesn't believe in ghost stories anymore, but she believes in the rain. And the ash. The thread from her wrist itches more violently here. Scene 2. Chika's disappearance. Chika isn't at breakfast. Kei asks. The others stare blankly. Even the first years. No one says her name. Her bed is gone, like it was never there. Her shoes, though, those are still under the bunk. Stuffed with cotton. One has dried blood inside. Kei takes them. She puts them in her locker and writes Chika Naru's on the underside of the lid in Whispercraft ink. It glows faintly for a moment, then fades. Scene 3. Dream. The underground school. Kei dreams of an upside-down version of the academy. The ceiling is a floor. The halls have no ends. She walks it barefoot in Chika's shoes. There are no students, just shadows where students should be. They sit in class, eat lunch, whisper and laugh. But every shadow is missing a mouth. She finds a locked door labeled Recitation Hall for the Silenced. Inside, the desks are all full. Each one has a girl in it, blindfolded and bound in thread. Heads down. One raises her hand. It's Emmy. Scene 4. Emmy's return. Kei wakes up with blood on her hands. Not hers. There's a thread stitched into her palm, looped once around her lifeline. Emmy appears again in the mirror. Not a reflection. A fracture. She speaks for the first time in weeks. You're close to the breach. They know you know. Kei asks where Chika is. Emmy hesitates. Then, she's still in the system, but only because she's unresolved. You mustn't say her name out loud. Not anymore. Why? Because they'll erase you too. That's how memory works here. Scene 5. The Dead Room. Kei follows the ashfall to a locked classroom at the far end of the West Wing. A room not on any map. Its door is sealed with wax and hair. Someone's written, "Do not untread" in Latin. Kei burns it. Inside, the walls are covered in class portraits, ones she's never seen. Each girl's name is listed beneath their image, etched into metal plaques. She finds Emmy's, then Chica's, then hers. But under her picture, the name is wrong. It says, Replica 6, Failed Integration. She looks closer. The photo isn't a photo. It's a still from a dream. Her dream. Scene 6, The Lattice Network. Sister Itsumi finds her in the hallway, takes her by the wrist. Tight. You've gone too deep. Kei tries to pull away. You want the truth? Fine. Come see what keeps this place standing. She leads Kei down into the chapel's crypt, through another locked gate, beyond the cisterns and reliquaries, to the lattice room. Inside, girls suspended in glass tubes, floating, eyes shut, thread feeding from their mouths into a central root, a black nerve cluster. Sister Itsumi turns to her. These are the nodes. Versions that failed resonance. But they're still useful. You should be grateful to them. Kei can barely speak. You're feeding the school with them. With what remains. Spirit is energy. Residual selfhood is an infinite resource, if refined correctly. And the ones who resist? They become nightmares. Or they become you. Scene 7, Journal Entry. They've been cloning memory. Not bodies. Not flesh. Just data, psycho-emotional scaffolds of girls who dreamed wrong. The school isn't just teaching us. It's running simulations. Seeing who survives the recursion. I don't know how many versions of me there are. But one of them remembers. One of them got through. And that's the one they fear. Scene 8, Breach Initiated. That night, the mirror doesn't show Kei. It shows Chika. She's standing in the upside classroom. Still in her shoes. Still whole. She says only one thing before the image cuts out. Don't forget me. Kei slams the mirror with her palm. The crack glows white. And from that fissure, a doorway opens. Not into glass. Not into dream. But into a space where forgotten girls speak in their real voices. And all of them are calling her name. Episode 19, The Breach Ritual. Scene 1, The Voice Beyond. The mirror door yawns open with no hinge, no frame, just a crack in reality that breathes cold air. Kei steps through. The world beyond is negative space, a photo developed in reverse. Everything is pale, glowing faintly from beneath, floors that aren't solid, walls that ripple with static, stairs that slope upward forever. And sound. A thrum beneath her thoughts. Not music. Not language. Something deeper. Memory and resonance. The space is full of girls, shades, echoes, half-formed thoughts that failed to resolve. They speak in overlapping fragments. Was I real? Still remember my first braid. Can't wake up. A chorus of unfinished lives. Scene 2, A Name Reconstructed. Kei hears a voice rise above the rest. Clear. Familiar. You're late. It's Chika. But not the one who vanished. This Chika is dressed in the school uniform, but inverted. Black on white. Her braid is loose. Her left hand is wrapped in thread, bloodied from unraveling something. They call this the back school, she says. But it's more than that. It's the archive. The cache. The last place they dump us when we don't fit. Kei rushes to her. Are you you? Chika gives a faint smile. Enough. Scene 3, Memory Echo, the first ritual. Chika shows Kei a fractured memory, the original breach ritual. Projected on the back school's ceiling like moving stained glass. A girl, unseen, unnamed, stands before the altar in the underground chapel. Her braid is already cut. She says, I don't want to ascend. I want to stay awake. The nuns circle her, chanting. The girl screams. Her voice is pulled from her mouth as thread, bound into a spool. And then, she's gone. Chika turns to Kei. That was Emmy. Scene 4. Breach parameters. Kei and Chika find an abandoned classroom where the ceiling leaks constellations. Inside, chalkboards covered in diagrams. Hex thread. Name fractals. Recursion cycles. Kei reads a line scratched into the desk. Only a dead name can break the veil. She turns to Chika. What's mine? Not Kei, she says softly. You were a placeholder. Chika hands her a folded slip of whispercraft paper. It pulses with heat. Inside, one word. SAE. Scene 5. Ritual preparation. To perform the breach, Kei must speak her dead name aloud. Burn her academy uniform. Cut the thread from her heart knot. Walk backward through her last dream. They gather the items. Chika gives her a rusted pair of shears. Don't flinch. If the thread fights back, you'll bleed memory. Kei cuts the thread. Pain instant, precise, not physical but existential. A burning in the places that held her together. Chika holds her as she trembles. You're still here. Scene 6. The dream rewalked. Kei lies down in a circle of white ash and closes her eyes. She enters her last recorded dream. The upside-down classroom. The girls with no mouths. The locked door marked recitation hall. This time, she opens the door. Inside, hundreds of bound versions of herself, all whispering the same phrase. Don't let them copy this one. She walks among them. One by one, they turn to her. She speaks. My name is SAE. The dream shatters. Scene 7. Back school collapse. The walls begin to tremble. Kei wakes up screaming. The breach is working, but it's also tearing down the back school with it. Chika grabs her. Go. Get out. Not without you. I'm not in your story anymore. I'm residue. I stayed too long. She pushes Kei toward the mirror. Tell Emmy. Tell her the doll maker didn't win. The last thing Kei sees before stepping through is Chika, standing tall as the void swallows her. Scene 8. The real school. Kei wakes up in her dorm bed. The real one. The sky outside is pink with morning. There's a new girl in the bunk above. She introduces herself shyly. I'm Rika. Kei stares at her. She remembers that name. Rika. Emmy. Chika. SAE. They weren't different girls. They were all her, in different iterations. Split, copied, discarded. And now, maybe for the first time, she's whole. Scene 9. Journal entry. My name was taken, but I took it back. I don't know what I'll find in this place next. I don't know if the breach closed behind me. But I remember everything. And I know what I am. Not a thread. Not a reflection. Not one of their dolls. I am Kei Amemiya. And I am awake. Episode 20. The School That Sleeps. Scene 1. Reentry. Kei Amemiya stands at the edge of the school courtyard, watching morning students file through the gates. It feels wrong. Too normal. No ash. No threads. No mirror doubles. But it's quiet. Too quiet. A blackbird lands on the gatepost and stares at her. It has a single white eye. She steps forward. The bird caws. Don't fall asleep. Not again. It flies off. Scene 2. Familiar strangers. In class, everyone acts like nothing's happened. Even Chika is there. Not the Chika who vanished, not the thread-bound one. This Chika has perfect braids. Empty smile. She waves brightly at SAE. Good morning, Kei. SAE doesn't answer. She looks around the room. Girls who should be gone. Sister Itsumi, who should be dead. All smiling. All a little too still. Like dolls. Scene 3. The sleep logic. That night, SAE tries to write in her journal. Her hand shakes. The ink fades. I came back. But maybe the real school didn't. Emmy appears in the reflection of her desk lamp. Her voice is weaker now. You breached the veil. That doesn't mean you escaped it. What is this then? SAE asks. The memory of waking up. It loops until you break it. Or fall back asleep. How do I break it? You already did. So now they're trying to stitch you in deeper. Scene 4. The Hypnos Room. SAE returns to the mirror stairwell under the dollmaker's closet. It's changed. Now it leads to a dark parlor filled with cradles. Each cradle holds a sleeping girl. Above them, needles float, dripping thread into their mouths. Sister Itsumi watches from a velvet chair. Did you think waking up made you real again? You can't keep me here. We're not keeping you. We're seating you, planting you deeper. The girls in the cradles twitch. They're all versions of SAE. Scene 5. The Static Nun. One of the nuns malfunctions. Her face jitters, becomes pixels. Her limbs stutter in fast, unnatural frames. She collapses. Inside her habit, wires. A speaker. No body. SAE picks it up. From the speaker, a voice loops. Ascend and forget. Ascend and forget. Ascend and forget. She crushes it in her hand. It bleeds ink. Scene 6. Emi's Dree Cut. Emi appears again. This time, she's missing her mouth. A thread X marks the place. She hands SAE a pair of scissors made of light, then writes on the mirror in breath fog. Cut the sleep. SAE turns. The air thickens. Something's coming. She runs. Scene 7. The Chapel's Heart. SAE enters the chapel. The stained glass windows now show her face, over and over. In the pulpit, the red nun. She holds a needle long as a sword. You should not have come back. I never left. You are not real unless we say so. SAE raises the scissors. Then I'll cut the lie. The nun lunges. SAE meets her. They fight. Blades against thread. Light against echo. In the struggle, SAE cuts the red nun's habit. Underneath, her own face. But stitched wrong. You wanted to be whole. This is what it costs. SAE plunges the scissors into the altar. Scene 8. The Shattering. The school rips open, the dream cracks. Girls fall from their beds, eyes wide, gasping. The chapel burns white. The mirror vaults shatter. Names swirl into smoke. SAE stands alone in a blizzard of unthreaded memory. She bleeds from the hand that held the scissors. But she breathes. She's still here. Scene 9. Journal Entry. The school isn't just haunted. It's a machine. A beautiful, cruel, recursive machine. One that feeds on us. On the idea of us. But I've remembered something they can unmake. My name.my voice.my choice. Episode 21. The Girl Behind the Static. Scene 1. Static Birth. The broadcast tower behind the chapel, the one students are forbidden to approach, comes alive. Red lights. Humming wires. The sound of breathing through static. Kei stands at its base alone. Her shoes crunch glass. Her ears bleed faintly. Inside the tower, through a slatted maintenance hatch, something flickers. A girl. All noise and no skin. A silhouette made of broken frames. She reaches toward Kei. Then collapses into a burst of jagged TV snow. Scene 2. Dead broadcasts. That morning, the school's PA system plays strange audio. Laughter with no mouths. Bell chimes reversed. Someone whispering Kei's name over and over. In class, the students sit stiffly. They only blink when told. Some hum tuneless songs. Chika writes in her notebook, she's breaking through. SAE draws spirals. Deep, endless spirals. Scene 3. Emi's Trace. Kei finds an old VCR in the basement archives. Labeled, EMI, Last Trace. She plays the tape. It's grainy. A girl, Emi, sits in the school courtyard at dusk. Not quite looking at the camera. If you're seeing this, I failed. Or maybe I made it out. You'll have to decide which is worse. Behind her, shadows shift. The sky pixelates. They copy us through the mirrors. Through the signals. Through the dreams. Emi turns to face the screen. If she's static now, that means she found the transmitter. And she won't stop. Not unless you cut the cord. Find the studio. Scene 4, the studio. Behind the stage curtains of the abandoned auditorium lies a hidden door. Past it, a room full of cameras, microphones, screens showing static-filled versions of Kei. One of them turns to face her. It speaks with her voice. "Are you sure you're the original?" Kei doesn't answer. She reaches for the plug. But her double twitches. "Unplug me, and you might vanish. You don't know what part of you was born here." SA enters behind her, pale and shaking. "Don't listen. She's the ghost of the signal. She feeds off recognition." The double smiles. "And you gave it to me." Scene 5, whisper decision. Kei hesitates. The cord pulses. Chika steps forward, opens her notebook. A new drawing, Emmy, cut in half, but alive. Still dreaming. SA hands Kei the scissors of light again. "It's not about killing her. It's about choosing which signal you are." Kei nods. She whispers her name. She cuts the feed. The studio goes dark. Scene 6, reboot. Light returns slowly. The tower is silent. The static is gone. The mirrors don't ripple. In the hallway, girls blink and speak freely again. Chika breathes without stuttering. SA touches the wall. Solid. Cool. Real. Kei feels her voice settle inside her chest like a returned bird. "I am not a copy. I am not a signal. I am here." Scene 7, journal entry. "I looked at a version of myself today that I almost became. She was hungry for attention. For confirmation. For meaning, just like me, but I chose the quiet. The heartbeat. The truth. I hope Emmy saw it." Episode 22, the mouth that wasn't hers. Scene 1, the name room. It starts with laughter, not Kei's. Not even human. In the hall beneath the chapel, where the name books are kept, dozens of tomes lie open, fluttering in a wind that doesn't exist. Kei sees her name scratched out in one dot underneath, a second name, Amemiya, null. She tries to write it back in, but her fingers freeze halfway down the page. The ink rises up, forming lips. "No more names for you." Scene 2, Chika's mouth. Chika has stopped speaking again. Not because she's scared, because her mouth is gone. A clean seam where it should be, breathing only through her nose. She writes furiously in her dream journal. "I gave her my voice when I was small. She said I didn't deserve to be heard." SAE tries to help, whispercraft humming softly, but her voice keeps glitching, dropping syllables like teeth. Scene 3, Mirror Girls. At night, Kei walks past the dorm bathroom mirror. The reflection doesn't follow. Instead, it shows 3 girls standing still. One in uniform. One in ashes. One stitched. They mouth something in sync. Kei writes it down. "You'll speak when the mouth is ready." The mirror shatters on its own. Scene 4, Voicekeeper's Den. SA leads Kei through a tunnel hidden behind the choir room's risers. At the end, a room made of vocal cords. Thin red strings twitch between bones. Choir robes hang like shed skins. A creature kneels in the center, wearing 1,000 mouths across its back, each one whispering at a different pitch. It turns. One of the mouths is Kei's. "You gave me this, little echo." Kei clenches her fists. "No, you took it." The mouths laugh. "You forgot. That's not the same." Scene 5, Emmy's mouth. That night, Kei dreams of Emmy again, but she's wearing a red veil, stitched shut around the mouth. She lifts the veil. Her mouth is scorched, burned shut. "I tried to tell the truth once." Kei asks, "What was it?" "That we were all her. That there were never students, just copies trying to wake up." The veil bleeds. Kei jolts awake with her pillow damp, tasting copper. Scene 6, the voice that remains. Chika comes to her in silence and places something in Kei's hand. A tooth. A real one. Scratched into it, Amemiya ver.1. Kei follows the tremor it gives off, down to the archives, past the black tape lines on the floor, to a hidden well sealed in iron. The key is the tooth. Inside the well is a recorder. Kei plays it. A voice, her voice. Younger. Clear. Dreaming. I don't know if anyone will remember me, but if they do, tell her I want her mouth back. Tell her I never wanted this story. Scene 7. The Teeth Choir. The final confrontation comes in the school chapel. The pews are filled with mannequin-like students, heads bowed, mouths removed. On the altar, the voice keeper. It speaks through stolen voices. Emmy's. Chica's. Essays. Even Kei's first. You gave up your truth to be heard. You were too loud for a lie, too quiet for a truth. Kei doesn't scream. She hums. A note passed down from her mother. A lullaby not in the books. The mannequins twitch. The mouthless girls begin to vibrate. One by one, mouths form on their blank faces. None speak, but all begin to breathe. Breathe back. The voice keeper stumbles. Kei speaks her name. Her real one. The first version. The entire chapel fills with light. Scene 8. Journal entry. The voice I speak with now is mine, but it's made of everything I wasn't allowed to say before. Chica's voice is back. Emmy's, not yet. I think there's still one story left she needs to tell. I'll wait. I'll listen. Episode 23. Things Only Ghosts Remember. Scene 1. Glass Chapel. The old chapel is sealed off, but that doesn't stop the dreams. Kei finds herself inside it again, except this time, it's not decaying. It's pristine. Sunlight passes through stained glass windows showing scenes no one remembers. A girl on fire. A girl at a desk. A girl cutting her own shadow away. Each one is her. Not metaphorically. Not symbolically. Literally. She counts them. There are 6. Scene 2. The Versions. SA gathers them in the stairwell, whispering urgently. Every version left an imprint. And they're waking up. She opens her notebook and flips through sketches, drawn fast, ink smudged. Each one labeled Amemiya V, hashtag. Chica stops her. Who is version 1? SAE hesitates. The girl who made the ghost. Kei, you mean? Emmy? SAE, no. I mean you. Scene 3. Emmy's memory. That night, Emmy appears in Kei's dream, but they're both in uniform, both whole, both alive. They sit in the dormitory hallway, legs stretched out, backs against the wall. No ghosts. No magic. Just 2 girls not yet erased. Do you remember, Emmy says softly, when we found the old recorder? Kei frowns. You said, let's make a tape in case we disappear. And I said, disappear where? And you said. Kei finishes, wherever the story needs us to. The dream freezes. Emmy looks scared. But that wasn't you talking, was it? Kei doesn't answer. The dream bleeds black. Scene 4. Lost Reels. In the real world, the film studio is empty, except for one reel projector still playing. Kei sneaks in with SAE and Chica. The reel stutters, stuck between 2 frames. They force it forward. Image. A classroom. Image. A coffin. Image. A close-up of Emmy, eyes wide, whispering. SAE mutes the projector. But the voice keeps going. And she kept recording over herself. Over and over. Until the original was buried. Chica looks at Kei. That's what happened, right? You wrote over yourself too many times. Kei answers, I don't know what the original even said anymore. Scene 5. The 6th girl. There's a girl sitting outside the chapel steps. No one sees her but Kei. She looks like Kei, but younger. Messier. Wounded in the face. You left me, the 6th girl says. Kei crouches. Who are you? The version you didn't like. The one who cried too loud. The one who wanted to die. Kei recoils. That's not true. Then why did you make all the others? Why did you let me rot here? Why did you let her wear me? Kei steps back. The 6th girl smiles, small, broken. I'm not mad. Just lonely. Scene 6. Mirror testimony. SA opens a small ritual at midnight, using cracked mirror shards and voice ink. They're going to summon a memory, not a ghost. Something buried deeper. Kei sits in the center. Chika guards the door. The mirror shows scenes they've never seen. Emi walking into the archives alone. Chika following her. Emi never coming out. Chika leaving, but different. The real Chika grips her throat. That's not I never. But Sa puts a hand on her shoulder. You were copied. Just like Kei. We all were. That's why we remember things that didn't happen. Why we fear things we've never seen. The mirror cracks. Scene 7, Journal Entry, Kei. I used to think Emi died. Then I thought she lived inside the dream. Now I think she became the dream. Or maybe I did. Or maybe that's just something she wanted me to believe. All I know is I'm waking up. And I don't know what I'll be once I do. Scene 8, the signal room. The school has no 4th floor. But Sa finds the staircase anyway. Buried behind the old choir loft, under tarps and warnings and chalk lines that say do not ascend. They ascend. At the top, a room humming with static. Old TVs, tapes, broken microphones. In the center, a screen playing a loop. Kei laughing, Kei crying, Kei screaming, Kei vanishing. A signal overlays it all. V.1 lost. V.6 active. Thread at 3%. Stabilize or terminate. Chika, that's you. Kei, all of them are. Scene 9, voice print. Emi's voice cuts through the static. I didn't want to be remembered like this. I just wanted someone to know. I didn't mean to leave. They made me into a symbol. A warning. A girl who cried too loud. You don't have to carry me anymore, Kei. Kei puts her hand to the screen. It glitches. Fades. Revealing her own face. Version 1. Still alive in the static. Still dreaming. Scene 10, the recording booth. Kei returns to the studio one last time. Sits behind the mic, pushes record. Speaks. My name is Kei Amemiya. This is the first and last version. I dreamed too long. I let her carry it. I forgot who I was. But I remember now. I remember everything. She plays it back. No static. No loops. Just a voice. Her voice. Whole. Episode 24, The Echo That Stays. Scene 1, one last bell. The school bell rings, but it's not the right time. It's the middle of the night. Kei, Sa, and Chika step out into the corridor, only to find the entire academy lit as if it were morning. Girls walking in perfect silence. No footsteps. No faces. Only outlines flickering. Chika whispers, the dream's bleeding through. Kei, no, the dream is over. This is what's left behind. They keep walking. The bell keeps ringing. Scene 2, the real archive. Beneath the chapel, where they once found old tapes, the floor gives way to something deeper. A hatch that was never supposed to open. They descend. The air smells like ozone, charcoal, ink. Thousands of voice recorders, each labeled with a name. A girl's voice echoes faintly through each one, crying, laughing, screaming. Sa reaches for one with her name. It whispers back, don't play me unless you're ready to stop being remembered. Sa sets it down. Chika, so what do we do? Kei, we end the story. Scene 3, the dream's heart. They find it under the archive. A black field stretching infinitely, where stars are made of memories. They pulse faintly, each one a moment trapped too long. In the center, a red thread. Uncut. Taut. Tied to Kei's chest. It leads to a version of Emi, one final echo, flickering between all the ways she died. All the ways she didn't. She looks at Kei. I was never meant to stay this long. You kept me here. I know. Why? Kei steps closer. Because I was scared of being alone. Emi nods once. Then let's not end it. Let's release it. Scene 4, goodbye for real. Emi takes Kei's hand. The thread starts to dissolve. Not severed. Not torn. Just unspooled. Kei sees flashes. Emmy at the lake. Emmy in class. Emmy smiling on the dorm steps. Emmy leaving her last tape. Kei listening to it over and over, forgetting what was real and what was remembered. And then, silence. Just the stars. Just Kei. Scene 5, wakefulness. She wakes in bed. Real bed. Morning sun. Slight headache. No dolls. No threads. No fading versions. Chika knocks on the door. You awake? Kei nods. Yeah. SA appears in the hallway, wearing sunglasses indoors, pretending not to have cried. No one mentions dreams, or ghosts, or missing reels. But the school is quieter now. Not hollow, just peaceful. Even the bell sounds different. Scene 6, the tape. Later that day, Kei finds a blank cassette on her desk. No label. She almost throws it away, but then remembers. She inserts it into her recorder. Plays it. A voice she doesn't recognize. If you're hearing this, the resonance has stabilized. Your name is yours now. But be careful. Some echoes don't die. They adapt. And some girls don't stay dead forever. Click. Scene 7, final journal entry. I thought I needed to remember everything to be myself. But now I know some things are meant to be released. I loved her. I lost her. I held her too long. Maybe that's all this was ever about. Letting go without forgetting. Remembering without erasing yourself. And if there's still something watching, listening, well, I'm ready. Scene 8, epilogue, another girl, another school. New school. Different city. A girl in uniform walks past a mirror. She hears a whisper. Do you remember her name? She freezes, looks around. Nobody else reacts. But the whisper comes again. Soft, familiar. Kei Amemiya. She doesn't know the name. Not yet. But she keeps walking. And in her shadow, the thread flickers.
Thanks for listening. Stay cozy, and I'll see you in the next story.